And hey there, hi there, ho there, and a gracious good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast here on Saturday, May 30th, 2020. It is the second launch day, potentially, for the first launch from U.S. soil with crewed launch from U.S. soil in almost 10 years, right? Something like that.
That's
Should be
correct.
exciting if it goes off this afternoon.
2011, I think it was.
Yeah. Um, we have a decent bit to talk about. Athletes starting to return to campus. Paul, you spoke with Jeff Walls about that Thursday, so we'll have that to talk about. Some other awards given out, and then a quiz later on. So, Paulie, why don't you take it away?
All right, Jared, thank you. And we are with you here.
Man.
I will admit to all listeners and participants today, my mind is not where it should be. Just a brief opening statement in regards to that. Our city, unfortunately, has succumbed to going from peaceful protesting to violence and rioting in the streets. And as a lifelong Louisvillian, this disappoints me greatly. And I'm very sad, outraged, and angered by this. But, guys, we have to try to maintain the focus of what we do here. And in case, as you mentioned, the joy and excitement of UofL women's sports. That's what we do here, guys. We're not political analysts. We're not moralists. We're not, people that are going to pass judgment. Oh, I have to say really any more about that. And then I'll pass it on to you guys for just your opening thoughts on it as well here. Is that, for God's sake, stop the violence, people. Stay home. Don't interact with any law enforcement officials, okay? All right. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I wanting to avoid being political here. I've been very political on my Twitter account, so if you're interested in my opinions, go there. But Cardinal Couple's not the place for that. But like you, born and raised as a Louisvillian, and heartbroken over what is happening in our community and has happened in our community for years and years. And hope that there can be a true and lasting solution and improvement in civic life around here. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that in this forum.
Words well said. Case, you want to weigh in here?
Sure. I don't have a whole lot of. I have zero protest experience. I don't have a whole lot of protest, ideology. Ideology is not the right word. It's just not something that ever occurs to me really to partake in. So I don't claim to be in the minds of protesters or people that are doing that. I do know a lot of people who have been involved the last couple of nights, and I would say that I know specifically people who are trying to start a dialogue. They're trying to have a conversation out in the open. They're trying to have affect change in the daylight, and they're being met with stonewalling and lack of response. And one thing leads to another. So it just is what it is. I hope that people can come together and have conversations that are being asked for and not received. So that's what I would say about that.
Here on that. Jared, we've gone from peaceful protesting to violence and destruction, sir.
Yeah, I've made a lot of my stuff known pretty clear on all my social media platforms. Obviously, the violence is causing more damage and hurt in the city, but at the same time, I don't think that we've seen the appropriate response by the government or the police either. Instead of gearing up for war, I think they probably should have opened their doors up and sat down with some of the protest leaders and had a discussion, figure out what exactly the goal is here and how they can come to a much more peaceful resolution. Because it looks like we're probably just going to get worse and worse over the next few days if we can't get some stuff figured out and kind of clean some stuff up with what's going on.
I do agree with that. And one more thing I'll touch on just briefly is we certainly don't need out of towners coming into our fair city and coming in after peaceful protesters to come in and raise hell and to destroy things. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, Jared, guess what Case is going to do for us? He's going to do some scheduling and Twitter here.
As long as you get his name right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's a hard case, so here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it away, Maestro.
Yeah, actually, the schedule is thinning out. We are, just a couple of weeks away from blank scheduling and collapsed schedules over the summer. This weekend would have been the Women's College World Series in softball and the Men's Golf Championships, and then next week, the Track NCAA Outdoor Championships. And that's it for the schedule. I don't remember seeing the College World Series on here. I don't know if it ever just never made it onto the schedule or what.
It's usually
I think
later.
This should be regional time, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But they've
I thought-
included all the other tournaments on the schedule, and they didn't include the College World Series. So
I wonder if that's just sport by sport, depending on how the individual sports staff decides to do that.
yeah, maybe. And either way, so the schedule is thinning out. We are actually about to finally, for the first time in a long time, hit the real summer slump, even though it feels like we've been in it for months. And good thing we've started to figure out the quiz situation here. Moving on to Twitter, my tweet is at best case scenario. I've held my tongue on Twitter mostly recently, but you can only do that for so long, so we'll see how that goes. Jared tweets as at Mr. Anderson Jared, and Jeff as at Jeff McAdams.
And I have not held my tongue on it.
I just, you speak for yourself. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
Jeff also tweets as Card Couple Radio, but as we've mentioned repeatedly, that is for the athletics portion, and there's not a lot of that going on right now. And Paulie tweets is at Cardinal Couple. And as our fearless leader, he is allowed to tweet whatever he wants from that. So,
and don't you forget it either, you peasants. Actually, I've been finding some nice things to kind of retweet out there from people who have made some statements that I like, so I retweet those with some comments. And I also got some very nice tweets that I've tried to retweet from one of the Louisville's future women's basketball stars' father. A very, very nice group of pictures that were sent to me by Peyton Verhulst's dad from his home out in Kansas, where they have an outdoor basketball court that has 3 logos on it. Louisville underneath one basket, UCF, where his oldest daughter is going to school, underneath the other basket, and Duke, where his wife went to school at center court. A great expanse. I asked Jeff Walls about that a little bit too, and he said, yes, I've seen that. I saw the work almost completed, and I offered my own advice, which I don't know if he took it or not. So, nice to get that kind of response from that. But yeah, guys, there is so much going on in the world of Twitter these days anyway, and it's irrelevant. So let's move on from there. Case, thank you for the updates on the schedule that we would have had and the Twitter information as well. Students coming back to campus, fellas. Let's go ahead and start with that today. June 1st is the target date for not only football, but also men and women's basketball. We found out from Jeff Walls, guys, about the students that would be returning to the basketball program for him. And guess what? All of his returning players will be coming in with this first group, and that also includes Norika Kono, who will be coming in from Japan and arriving on June 1st.
I'm a little surprised at that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, great. If they think they can do that and do it appropriately and safely, fantastic. But I have to say I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, I think we all are a little bit surprised. I even put it in an article that one of the probables that wouldn't be in the first wave would be Narika.
Yeah.
But according to Wallace, the flight's booked, everything's scheduled, and she'll be arriving on June 1st.
She's
The
probably leaving like today. She's
I
probably
would, I
getting on a
would
plane
think,
soon.
yeah, I would imagine she's probably airborne by now. Were you surprised about it all, Jared? I mean, it's a long way to come from Japan to Louisville, yeah.
Yeah, with a lot of the restricted travel, and especially with some of the heavier hit countries in that area, and just due to their close proximity to the rough spots of China, it's kind of surprising that they were able to make it work out with Norika Kono to make it on back with this first wave. But that is also a promising sign. It, it's good to see that she'll be back on campus after she has to go through her 14-day quarantine. It gives the team plenty of time to work together and practice together, because I mean there's not really much else that they can do. So it should be a great bonding time too for them.
Fellas, what the first phase involves before any type of open gyms or weight room training or anything like that, instruction and procedure on how to handle yourself on campus during a pandemic. They're going to go over all the things that have been outlined to us by our government and then other medical professionals about this. And I think that's a very, very important step to talk about the hygiene and then the pandemic. Do you not as well?
I fully agree with going through having your procedures laid out and just having your meetings, explaining to the student athletes what's going on, how to handle things, what to expect, because it's just nice. One is an educational opportunity. It's also great to keep everybody on the same page. But you also have to look that these are still college students, and they like to go out and have college student fun sometimes. And a lot of that college student fun, where you're in large groups and tight locations, is not the best situation to be in right now, because that could easily cause things to spread.
Yeah, and I hope and I think, from what I've seen, that there's a good testing regimen in place. I think I saw that they said the student athletes will start arriving back on Monday, and they will all be tested on Tuesday. I hope that's not a one-time thing, though. I hope that's a recurrent thing. The frequency, I don't know, but hopefully it's more than just once, because there is still some interacting of people, and it happens, but they need to kind of redo that testing periodically at least.
Well, one of the things, Case, that I think is interesting about all this is when we think of students coming back for summer and doing things, there aren't going to be any instructional classes for them to actually be able to participate in right away. So, a lot of times the kids will come in, as you've seen and I've seen, and take some summer classes in order to help toward their degrees. What say you about this?
Well, I'm sure that the university is still moving forward with summer semester in an online capacity. That is based entirely on an assumption about the university's academic calendar. I know that they've been discussing what their plans for the fall are, but like you said, student athletes depend on summer classes. Speed School, I know, is currently continuing their summer semester entirely online. I know a few students, friends who are still students, who have just returned to wherever they are from. A friend who went back to Cincinnati and is still maintaining his summer semester. But so I'm sure that they're still having those online classes. Whether or what that will entail, that'll be tough, because the general studies summer classes are quite compact, about only 4 weeks. So those online classes could be pretty tough. But since the athletes can't participate in coached events anyway, that their schedules are probably going to be a lot more fluid
spoke a bit with Jeff Walls about the open gym concept, open weight room concept after they've gone through the proper instruction and procedure detailing and outlining. And he was pretty much in the dark about it as we are. He doesn't know what type of scheduling will be done yet, whether it'll be separate, okay, Dana, you're in here from 9 to 10:30, and then we'll follow you up and go ahead and let's go ahead and bring in Kiana Smith, and then after that for an hour and a half. He didn't know if it was going to be in groups of two. He did know that there would be, of course, athletic trainers and nutritionists on hand to help them. But how do you work an open gym, which in past years traditionally has been kind of a, hey, let's get a bunch of people out here and play pickup and shoot, you know? What do you do, Case?
Well, I think a lot of teams' free throw percentages might go up this season. I think what you're going to see mostly, like we've talked about, players will probably not be playing together. So you're going to see a lot of individual work, ball handling skills, just shooting, free throw line shooting. They'll have the machines that, can rotate and kick out so that they can, take repeated 3-point shots and that type of thing. I think that's what I would expect is a lot of this work is going to be shooting, ball handling work, conditioning work. Just you won't have that, passing and drill running and items like that.
Jeff, how do you schedule something like this? Do you call up Dana or text Dana and say, okay, you're in the gym today from 8:45 until 10:15, and we will have a couple of staff personnel there. Otherwise, you're on your own.
Yeah.
How do you work this, Jeff?
Sure. I see no reason you can't do exactly that. Basically every one of these kids is likely to have a smartphone. You can do, scheduling on a calendar on a smartphone with email, whatever. Yeah, schedule it exactly like that. Create a calendar entry, and they show up, they do their thing, and have their time on the court. And I see no reason you can't do it exactly that way. I don't know if that's what they will do, but yeah, I think that's perfectly feasible.
Jared, I'm going to take you in a little different direction toward this. These basketball sports are winter sports, and the fall sports aren't coming in till later, yet they will obviously be the first ones that will get underway as far as we know right now. Do you think maybe bringing in the basketball players is a little too soon here, Jared? What do you think about this?
I don't think so. I think their goal right now is to aim towards the bigger, more popular sports first. Obviously, the sports we're going to see pick up and kind of lead the charge are going to be the two big profitable ones, football and men's basketball. But then you look at some of your other popular sports. Women's basketball tends to be one of your other popular sports. Baseball typically is another popular sport. So what you want to do is you're focusing on them before you get to the sports that only average a few hundred people in attendance. And I think that's the route they're going here with the situation right now.
Very true words. Guys, we found out earlier this week, obviously, that Kylie Shook and Jasmine Jones made the 12-player cut for the New York Liberty, where they'll join, of course, Asia Dewar. All 6 of the draftees by the Liberty made the squad. This is going to be quite the interesting look for the New York Liberty. Would you not agree, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very young look, obviously, with 6 rookies on the team. Sabrina Ionescu among them is certainly a nice leavening to that crowd. But it's also interesting. I saw something commentary. I haven't looked at all of the players that, but there was some commentary about many of the players having played together in the past. You've got the 3 Louisvillians, obviously UofL folks, Asia, Kylie, and Jazz, who have all played together, but then apparently even others among the team have commonality of teams previously. So it's nice that there's that connection among some of the players previously, because that's one of the things that's difficult with a young team and a team with a bunch of new people on it, is bringing them together in a cohesive whole. I think that'll help them. Jazz and Kylie and Asia already know how each other play and how they interact with each other. So that's fewer, of the number of exponential connections between players on a team, that's fewer that need to be a little worried about. So yeah, I think it's very cool. I'm excited to see what happens with this team.
Hey, Case, I'll throw this at you. From what I was able to determine, there are actually going to be 5 players from the ACC that are on the squad. When you add the 3 Louisville players in, you add the very talented Jocelyn Willoughby from Virginia, Leona Oldham, who played at Duke. You've got 3 UConn players on this Liberty squad as well. That's a lot of familiarity, and I'm thinking we maybe try to push Jeff Walls into a voluntary assistant coach role on the squad because he's got experience with all these kids.
Well, I don't think you'd want to lose him, so I wouldn't push him anywhere. Right? I'd like to hold Jeff Walls pretty close to the city.
And I want to start another rumor about Jeff Walls accepts coaching job at. No, I'm just kidding. But it's amazing how much familiarity these players will have with each other just because Louisville's obviously played UConn. Louisville has played Oregon, where Sabrina Onetsky comes from. They've definitely played other ACC schools. These players are going to know a lot about each other, I think, right?
Yeah, I think what led to the situation of all the rookies being added, I'm not clear. It's a very interesting and kind of awkward situation. And I don't know if after suspensions are served, whether all of them will remain on the roster. But for now, if you're going to have a team with a lot of youth, then the best thing you can have with that youth is familiarity, like you mentioned. So these players, they're all around the same age. They played each other in college. Since a lot of them are from East Coast schools, you imagine some of them are from East Coast or Midwest areas where they may have played together in AAU ball as well. So there's a lot of familiarity, like you mentioned, and that can have a great benefit on trying to form a young squad early.
Jared, one question I've got, and maybe you could pontificate on this a bit here, is that Asia Doer's season didn't quite end the way we all hoped it would with the injury and such. How important is Asia to this team?
She's probably one of the most talented players on this roster. We've seen her in her days at UofL. She can be a nice sharpshooter. She's a great playmaker. And if you're putting her as well as Sabrina Ionescu on the court, I mean, you're looking at 2 players you have to give double or triple team attention to already. So that's really opening up the court for everybody else. And if you've got Kylie or Jazz one-on-one with someone, they can easily beat their defender. So that's creating opportunities for the rest of the team. And I think that's what's going to make them a pretty big threat.
And I think Jazz may be one of the wild cards on this squad as well. One that impressed me so much during her career, though, is Jocelyn Willoughby, who played at Virginia. I watched her play and just marveled and said she's a can't-miss WNBA prospect. And even Jeff Wall said, yeah, she'll be somewhere. She'll definitely be somewhere. She's that good. She's Virginia's main force. Any thoughts on her, guys? Jocelyn Willoughby? Great ball player.
Great ball player out of a great program, too. I mean, they haven't been maybe among the top tier, but they are a very good team and have done really great things. So, it's I suspect she'll find a place. And even if not this year, maybe she goes overseas and comes back and finds a place next year. I think that's a very real possibility.
She always had good games against Louisville. Jared, your thoughts on her?
It's nice to have her on your team versus going up against you, as I'm sure what Asia, Jazz, and Kylie are thinking at this point. So it's good excitement. Another heck of a ball player. She was obviously in the running for ACC Player of the Year as well, so that's always a good sign. Fresh legs, healthy legs, young legs, along with as some of the aforementioned players already. So I think that's going to contribute to a fast-paced ball game, and I think Willoughby is pretty familiar with the up and down fast-paced style of play, so that'll contribute to her playing time.
I think she especially knows how to defend it too, having watched Louisville blitzkrieg them the last couple of years. Case, you wrote an article today, a very nice article about Cardinal Scholars on the Arthur Ashe Jr. Awards that were awarded to Mercedes Pastor, a very, very excellent player of Buenos Aires, Argentina, for the field hockey squad, and also Brenna Shanahan, a Native American Indian who plays for Scott Teeter's lacrosse team. Just kind of talk to us a little bit about those achievements and awards they received.
Yeah, they were named Arthur Ashe Jr. Scholars. That is, in the magazine Diverse Issues in Higher Education annually has an Arthur Ashe Jr. issue, and in that issue they name their Scholar Athlete Awards. It goes to players who have, or student athletes who have at least a 3.5 GPA, are at least a sophomore, and are active in their community and on campus. Obviously, we know that UofL's student athletes are very active in the community. They're repeatedly at the top of community service hours lists as teams and as individuals. And it also awards players who excel on the field. So Mercedes Pastor, like you mentioned, and Brenna Shanahan, both named recipients of that award this year. Also, Matthias Schmid on the men's golf team was another recipient from U of L, so don't want to leave him out. But like you mentioned, on our women's side, Pastor and Shanahan.
What a wonderful award for both of them, and the leadership, Jared, that we saw out of Mercedes Pastor, and Jeff, you saw some of this too out there for field hockey this year, was pretty incredible. She's a magician with the stick, and it seems now that her being transfers even off the field into other things going on in society as well, right?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Mercedes Pastor. Mitche is the caller. She has amazing on-ball skills, amazing stick skills with the ball. I mind blown sometimes when I watch her playing, and I'm not an expert of field hockey, but man, the things she does with that are just impressive. So she's a very, very fine field hockey player. And then I also realize when I stop and think that she's also going through speed school at the same time with a not completely fluent understanding of the English language, and then also doing community service and everything else that she does. And by all accounts of everyone that I've talked to her that knows her personally, she's just a delightful person in general. I'm dumbfounded. So yeah, amazing.
And Jared, you have some forged close friendships with some of the field hockey student athletes, current and past. Just the general impression that you get on Mercedes and speaking with them?
She comes across as shy, first and foremost, but I think that a lot of that ties back to her understanding of the English language not being fully there at the moment. But once you kind of get to talk to her and she knows who you are, especially with you and me, Paul, since we're there at all of the matches, she becomes a lot more open and friendly. As far as the boundaries can take with the language, she's more than happy to be open and talking with everybody. So I do appreciate having her on the team, and I think she's one of those bright spots to have on the team.
Certainly a very shining example. Of course, Brenna Shanahan, a Native American who actually played for Scott Teeter when he was at Buffalo before he came down to Louisville. An incredible leader, an incredible person. She is basically the heart and soul of that team. If you consider her and Shayla Scanlon as two of the leaders of that squad, I think those would be two very good ones. Just talk about the incredibleness of Brenna, Jared.
With Brenna, I think the big thing that's helped her out is her experience, because I think what this would have been her this past year, what's her 6th or 7th year in college. I know she's had some injury related issues, some other like transfer issues where she's been granted a few extra years of eligibility. So she's seen a lot. She's seen a lot of players come and go. She's seen different coaches. So she has a very strong understanding of the game, and she has a great like mentor mentality at this point too. So she's great working with a lot of the younger players as they come in, working with them not only with lacrosse itself, but handling college life and handling life in general. So it's a great benefit to have her on the team.
Case, let's take a look at the culture change that has occurred with Louisville lacrosse since Scott Teeter has gotten there. It's just some of your thoughts about on the way he's really turned this program into one that's very community active and one that is receiving prestigious awards the whole year.
Yeah, I think after or while the previous regime was over that program, there were inklings of culture issues, even though the program was fairly successful on the field. And once things started to boil over, we really were wondering what was going to go on with Louisville lacrosse when you've got issues like that happening in a non-revenue program. It really puts the entire program at risk, to be honest, because universities don't want to deal with scandals like that or situations like that. And if you can't get players to, come be part of that program, then you're going to struggle to even maintain the team. But they brought Scott Teeter in, and we've seen, an immediate turnaround. He brought in a good assistant coaching staff, including a former Louisville player that didn't play for him in college. So that was just a connection to the university. We've seen him bring very good player. He brought very good players with him from his previous post, and they turned into, hearts of the team at Louisville. He started to see some good results on the field after struggling at the beginning, and like you mentioned, just a great team to root for, both on and off the field, because of their involvement in the community, their involvement on campus, and a lot more positive vibe from the entire program.
And Teeter has developed and somewhat mirrored the philosophy of other coaches on campus with the one for all for one philosophy. There are no cliques anymore. There are no pecking orders on squads that he coaches. It's a we're all in this together, one for all attitude. And I love that concept. You guys, Teeter's done some amazing work.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's taken away the selfish aspect of the game, and when you play a team sport, you have to realize you can't be selfish. You may be hot one game, and sure, go ahead and take a little bit more to yourself. Or if you're struggling in one game, well, that's why you have teammates there with you to help pick up and cover, and you should be able to trust and rely on your teammates to do what they need to do to help you all win too.
Let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit now. Jared, you wrote an article about some of the incredible achievements of Louisville's marketing department. Kind of review that with us for the article you wrote earlier this week.
Oh yeah, excuse me. I'm still kind of waking up. Got the morning voice going on. But yeah,
it's 11:30, Jared.
It's my one day to sleep in.
He's on Pacific time, guys. He's on Pacific.
Our marketing team, to me, has always done a very excellent job. They're constantly innovating ways to involve the crowd and get people to games, because the crowd energy feeds into the players, whether it's on the court, on the pitch, on the field, whatever game we're at. So to me, having fans there makes a big difference. You can really kind of point that back to women's basketball, and sometimes when UofL travels to other places, or you hear opposing teams, when the coaches are talking in the post-game press conference, they're like, yeah, it's so nice to have 10,000 fans in attendance at a game just to watch us and cheer us on. That makes a big part. But they did receive some honors and recognition for a few different things, a lot of it tying back to men's basketball, which men's basketball would be one of the higher profiting things. It's the one that we do see a lot more of the 20, 21, 22,000 fans at games. A big honor to Muhammad Ali in one of those games. They do a lot with family and child activities with games, so that's where a lot of their recognition came from. Going back into the article, some of the different ideas they've come up with, we did see the Decades Night, so I know we had that picture of Paulie out there with his get up. Like We've had all the child family. We have the Girl Scout days at there. We have a lot of the military appreciation days. They're always coming out with new ideas, and they're always open to hear ideas from fans too. What what the fans want to see at games and what cooperate. They do a lot with some of the smaller sports too. I mean, you can go to soccer or softball or volleyball, and they're doing T-shirt giveaways or mini ball giveaways, this and that. They're constantly just trying to find ways to involve the crowd. So I have major appreciation for our marketing team with what they do.
Hey, Jeff, I've got to pose this question. You know, marketing and fans seem to be pretty much interchangeable. What if our fan base isn't there because of pandemic restrictions this year?
Marketing does more than just the in-game stuff too. I mean, obviously they've got presenting material out on the public website and streaming and all of that they can promote and make available. So there's a role for them, I think, regardless. And it's a little harder to do that. Certainly the in-game stuff is interesting and fun. I think they enjoy it a lot. Unfortunately, the marketing staff did take a little bit of the hit with some of the layoffs that the organization had. So that's a little disappointing. Unfortunately, probably necessary. Unfortunately, given the situation, it's bad all around. But they'll be able to, and I suspect if there's sports going on, but people aren't in the stands, then it shifts from being marketing in the arena or the stadium or whatever more to marketing via that live stream. Perhaps I would suspect and hope that they would be involved in the streaming process of that in that case and take a more prominent role there than what they may have done in the past, where they were focused more on in-facility sort of events for events.
Sports and fans. Case as the fall season gets ready, baseball already not having anything going on, and when they come back, they're talking about probably limited or no fan base for that. Let's fast forward to the fall and get your opinions here. What do Louisville fall sports do with a fan base, if anything?
Well, we're talking about the marketing team, and the marketing team for the university has one real goal, and that's to make the university money, right? The way that they do that is very good. It's very fan engaged, and like Jeff mentioned, that's going to have to continue in a not fanless. These teams will never be fanless. We're all going to be supporters of the university and those athletics, but spectatorless, really. In a spectatorless environment, the marketing team is going to still have to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to continue to make money for the university to be able to support all these teams and all of these programs and things that go on at the university. So without spectators in the stands, we're going to see a lot of media-driven things. I think that we've seen in the past, not UofL fans specifically, but there have been ways that online spectators, have been able to interact with the event via online fan votes during a live stream, to be able to make things happen, see what's going on, something that engages people so that they're not just relying on them to tune in and hope that they can get eyes on the athletics to be able to maintain their sponsorships and their deals, because that's what it's going to be about. When you don't have spectators in the seats, you have to make money as a program somehow, and that's going to come through advertising and sponsorships. And to do that, you have to have people watching the games and utilizing the sponsorship deals. We may see a lot of discounts come through to try and keep those relationships open. It's going to be a really interesting way, as somebody who consumes a lot of podcasts and they make most of their money through advertising and discount deals and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see how athletics programs in college, particularly, and to some extent, or professional, even though they have other monetary means. It's going to be interesting to see how they make that transition to not just ticket sales.
Well, last year, guys, we saw the advent of the ACC network come upon us beautiful facilities in Louisville across all the campuses in the ACC. I guess a twofold question for each one of you. Your overall impression of how the ACC network did this past season, and what do they need to do this year? Go ahead and start us out, Jeff.
Oh man, I don't know. Let somebody else go first on this one.
All right. I'll go first then.
Okay.
You guys can follow after me. How about that? I thought that the ACC network did a fair job last year. I didn't really think that they did all the extended coverage of sports that I would have liked to have seen. They tended to do a lot of replays of games that happened in the past. And I don't really think that they did enough locally based talk shows with the individual schools. I would have loved to have seen some stuff done with some of our very, very fine local people that were on the network. People like Katie George, fantastic. She could have done some local things. We obviously had some others in there that were doing stuff with the ACC network. Obviously, a very good football player by the name of Wood. Does anybody remember him? I loved the stuff that he did on there, more local based stuff. I would like to see that continue in year 2 of the ACC network and get even larger. Let the local schools do a little more individualized broadcasts for the network and take it away a little more from the mainstream. We're here at ACC headquarters, and this is what we're talking about today. No, let's let Syracuse get on there and kind of talk a little bit. Maybe have a question and answer session with Q and also with Boeheim. Wouldn't that be fantastic to have those two on the same stage? Hey, let's take it a step further. Let's go ahead and let's have Satterfield and Walls, go through a quiz. Let's do stuff like that. Let's take it more to the schools and less away from the central. That's my thoughts on it, fellas. So whoever wants to go from there, I'll throw it up in the air. Who gets the jump ball? Case, Jared, or Jeff?
I'll go ahead.
Jared gets the tip.
One of the things I want to see is more knowledgeable people that are covering games. I feel like sometimes with the smaller sports, we've seen where they just kind of throw anybody out there to do kind of your play-by-play and color people. Which, I mean, to someone who actually has a little bit more understanding of sports, I'm not going to say I'm an expert at most of the sports by any means, but I could do a far better job than some of the people that I've heard on different games, which, I mean, to me, it's kind of taken away from the game. I'd rather watch it on mute half the time. I think that's the big thing that we could do.
And we've all done that too, yeah.
Right. And you mentioned how many excellent local people there have. I mean, it's not just Louisville that's going to have excellent local former players. Every school is going to have some great former local players that have a great understanding of the game and could easily go and call it or be the color person, the color analyst. So why not get them out there and help make them known? Because in a way, that would also help further their careers. It's a great resume builder for them. And at the same time, for ACC network purposes, you've got a great expert calling games. So that's the big thing I want to see. And then obviously, as you mentioned, lesser of the big sports that are picked up already by ABC, ESPN, CBS, and bringing up a lot of the smaller sports, give them more coverage.
Absolutely so. All right, Case, you're Jeff. Who's next?
I'll go ahead. I think that the thing we need to see with the ACC network, and it's going to be tough because of the online streaming environment and how people are consuming television these days, is things that people want to watch. For some people in some markets, they want to watch replay games. They want to watch classics. But as a UofL fan, I don't want to watch a 1994 Wake Forest versus Duke football game. Right? That doesn't have interest to me, but it might to the people in that area. So if they could do split programming to localize their programming more and get more eyes on the network, like I mentioned, it's a money game with college athletics, and they need viewers to get sponsors for the conference to distribute that money throughout the conference as well. But they need to find a way to be able to get people to watch and engage with the programming all the time and not just specific to certain regions.
Very valid point, sir. Very valid indeed.
Yeah, and I struggled with this a little bit because I don't have a TV in my house. I don't own one. So linear TV is something that is not something that I basically ever consume. So this was a little while I was taken off guard on that. I do agree with Jared's thought of having more locally sourced talent, more knowledgeable talent of the specific sport that they're dealing with. I will credit when U of L is doing coverage of volleyball for, given my sport, this is where that I love so much. Lauren Rust does a really good job with that. She's not the smoothest color analyst I've ever seen on TV, but she knows the game very well. She knows the teams very well. She knows the players very well, and she has some really great insights into it. Usually she's paired with a play-by-play guy that doesn't know what's going on, but I can deal with that. And that's fair to do that. But I do agree with that. I think Jared makes a good point on that. In this day and age, I think replays are going to be big. And it's tough. I think it was really great where they did a series of days where it was one school featured the whole day across multiple sports. That was a lot of fun. I wish they hadn't chopped up U of L's volleyball game. They showed quite so much, but it is what it is. So that's a possibility. I'm sure they're building their stable of people to be able to do the more interesting human interest material, like you mentioned, Paulie. So, as they're bringing in people like Katie George, who is incredibly smooth in front of a camera and does such a great job with that, you can see that she's taking on that role quite a bit as well. So, yeah, it's good responses all around, I think.
I think so. So we'll give them a pass for the first year. Hopefully we can see improvement in the second year, but let's also hope that they've got something to show, that we don't have a resurgence in the pandemic, that there are actually events that will be televised, that there are events that will maybe be able to have some sort of fan base and not everything covered out of a central network, but actually covered at the site. All things to be seen, of course. We don't know the answers to that yet. We'll just kind of have to see how that goes, guys. All right, boys. Did anybody say quiz? I did.
No, we did, but yeah, let's do it.
All right, so Jeff is not going to participate.
No, I said I would. I just said I didn't say it.
After 2 last place finishes, he's going to try to get out of the cellar today. Jared rejoins us after a couple weeks of frustration for Jeff to see if he can regain. He won the first quiz of the year, This was Jared's baby.
Yeah.
So he's going to go after Case, who's been out lately. Guys, today's quiz is going to be about Coach 'em Up. That's right, a quiz about the University of Louisville coaches.
Okay.
So no mascots yet?
I haven't got to the mascots yet, Jared, because I'm not that desperate for material yet. Okay.
Jared's been studying. That's the only thing he can remember how to do.
Jared has got, his bedroom at home. He's got the mascots of all the ACC schools on his bedroom wall, and there he's like, "Good night,
Studying
Tiger.
night and day.
Good night, Louie. Otto, come cuddle up with me." So this will be about coaches. Just the rules in case you're tuning in for the first time or you have amnesia or senility like I do. You get 10 points for each correct answer. There are 10 questions. Then we added a bonus question. You can either choose not to take the bonus and not affect your final standing, or you can take the quiz for the bonus and either pick up 20 points or lose 20 points. It can be a game changer. So, gentlemen, put down your textbooks and don't turn off your laptops, otherwise the show will go off. You're on the honor system as usual. Are we ready?
Yep.
Let's go.
Ready as ever.
Here we go. Question number 1. Jeff Walls' newest assistant coach is A. Johnny Pescavato, B. Sam Purcell, C. Janisha Pineda, or D. Lamont Russell? Is it Pescavado, Purcell, Pineda, or Lamont Russell? Case, we're going to start out with you.
C.
Case is going to go with a C. Jared?
I'm in agreement with Case fully on that one.
And Jeff, what say you?
See, was Pineda right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
They all go C, and CC, that is correct. Yes,
Yep.
Tanisha Pineda, a fantastic new assistant coach to the Cardinal program. Certainly a very, very savvy person as far as physical exercise goes, has gotten to know the team very well, and is also invaluable out on the recruiting trail.
And a bit of an aside, congratulations to Lamont Russell, who graduated with his master's.
How about that? We're going to
Yeah,
have,
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
the big guy, he's got some skills now.
Yeah.
He's a master of everything he surveys,
He's
right?
got all kinds of skills. Dude's living life large, man. It's great.
He is indeed a
Yeah.
true Renaissance man, I think
Yeah.
you could say. All right, they got the first one right. We hope you did it at home, too. Hope you're taking the quiz at home. Question number 2 is, which of these do not coach lacrosse? Which of the 4 names I'm about to give you do not coach lacrosse? A, Scott Teeter. B, Lucas Piccioli. C, Kay Morissette. Or D, Renee Palat. Teeter, Piccioli, Morissette, or Palat? Case, you're still first.
B.
Going with the B. How about you, Jared?
Lucas Piccioli, B.
And Jeff, what say you?
Yep, Caspizzioli is assistant. Actually, I think he's associate head coach is his title for field hockey.
And B, the correct answer. That is correct. Lucas, of course, over there with Justine Sowery over there at Traeger Stadium. The other 3, of course, associated with the Louisville women's lacrosse squad. Since there is a men's lacrosse squad on campus, they just don't participate in Division I sports. The boys are 2 for 2. I hope you're 2 for 2 at home as well. Question number 3 is, Justin Sowery came to Louisville from this college. Is it A, UConn, B, Drexel, C, James Madison, or D, UMass? Case, which one of the 4? UConn, Drexel, James Madison, or UMass?
Oh, this is a total guess. I'm gonna go James Madison.
All right, Jared, where do you go with this?
Can I get the 4 options again? 'Cause I forgot half of them already.
It's A, UConn, B, Drexel, C, James Madison, or D, UMass?
I don't think she came from UConn. Oh no, let's just go with UMass. I don't know.
He goes UMass. What say you, Jeff?
Yeah, I was thinking UMass as you were reading those off, so I'm going to go with that. Not sure, though.
There is a bit of uncertainty there. We have 2 UMasses and 1 incorrect answer. UMass is the correct answer. She was actually at Louisville for a time and then left Louisville as an assistant coach to take the UMass job, and then came back to Louisville. And of course, our head coach at the time went to go into the ACC at Duke, and then Pam Buston found out later on, hey, Louisville's in the ACC too. So anyway, Justine Sowery, that's right, a UMass head coach before Louisville, and doing a fine job down there, like that. Still 2 perfect scores after 3 questions. We go to question number 4. Danny Busboom Kelly played as a student athlete at A, Nebraska, B, Louisville, C, Washington, or D, Michigan. We're going to change our order this time. We're going to start with Jeff this time. Where did Danny Busboom Kelly play as a student athlete?
This might not have been a wise one to switch order on. She was at Nebraska. Born and raised in Nebraska.
Well, but we all knew.
Well, I figured you probably did, but yeah.
So I'm assuming, Jared, you're going to go with this Nebraska answer?
I mean, I thought she played and coached at Nebraska, right?
Yes.
So I'm sticking with it.
Okay, so you're going to dissent.
No, it's Nebraska.
All right. They all three go with Nebraska, and yes, Nebraska is correct. She was a Husker, and a very good one, I might add, too.
Yeah. Played
Uh,
both
so-
as a setter and as a libero in her time there. Switched
It's
midway through. Mhm.
has translated those skills, of course,
Yeah.
to Louisville and done quite well with them. All right, question number 5 comes up. Louisville's head women's tennis coach is A. Arthur Albero, B. Mark Beckham, C. Raven Neely, or D. Kevin Fulton. Who is Louisville's head women's tennis coach? Albero, Beckham, Neely, or Fulton? What say you, Jeff?
Mark Beckham.
All right, he goes with the Beckham. All right, Jared.
I'm in agreement with Beckham, but I also do like their assistant coach too.
Okay. Case, you agree with these guys?
Well, I have to. I do agree with them, but I have to be honorable and say that my answer is D, because I thought that Mark Beckham was cross country, but I now know that that's incorrect. So I shall take my wrong answer with honor.
Doing the right thing, saying what his first response would have been. Case, unfortunately, is incorrect with his guess, though. As it is Mark
Oh, it's-
Beckham, a great guy.
Is it Cowper?
Yeah, Cowper.
Dale Cowper.
Cowper is
Cowper.
cross country.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kevin
And-
Fulton's the assistant.
yes, he is. Very good, Jared.
He's-
No bonus points for that, but still.
He's really active on Facebook, is how I knew that one.
As Mark Beckham, and he's been on campus for a while too. Also, you guys may not remember, but he was actually Rexy Carmen's assistant for the men's before he took the women's job.
And he played as a UofL student too.
He did as well, yeah. And also looks a little bit like Quentin Hillsman, so he's got a lot of great things going for him. We're halfway
You're
through.
gonna have to pull a picture up because I don't know on that.
Hey, you're the photo guy here, Jared. Come on, man. Get your own photos on the too. All right. Halfway through the quiz, we still got a tie for first place with Jeff and Jared being perfect. Case with 2 X's out of 5 questions. Question number 6. Jeff Walls' hometown is A. Covington, B. Fort Mitchell, C. Fort Thomas, or D. Birmingham. What is Jeff Wallace's hometown? Covington, Fort Mitchell, Fort Thomas, or Birmingham? Jeff, what you got?
Oh dear. I was gonna pick the one in northern Kentucky, but 3 of them are. I think it's Fort Mitchell, but I don't know that.
Just going to venture a guess with Fort Mitchell here. What say you, Jared?
I have no idea on this one. I just know he coached at Northern and had some stuff and played at Northern. So Covington's over there by Northern. I'm just going to go with Covington.
Jared goes with Covington. Where are you going to go with this one, Jared? Case, excuse me.
Yeah, I was going to go with Covington as well.
As the guys seem to think Covington is the place to be, or Fort Mitchell, but everybody is incorrect. Jeff
Fort
Wallace
Thomas.
is Fort Thomas, yes.
Oh,
Hmm.
he's there with
Thought
Brooklyn River.
Thought about guessing that one.
Fort Thomas Highlands, of course, a very prestigious high school up there where he played, and also a great alias for him, Mort Thomas, is what he's been known as sometimes when he goes on to spoof people on the internet. All right. Sorry about that. X's all the way across. I hope you got it right at home. If you're taking the quiz, yes, if you're taking a quiz today, Sam Purcell, I hope you got this one right. Otherwise, there could be a job reduction in line for you. We move on to question number 7. Holly April returns all but this one player for softball. Softball bringing back quite a few players. Which one is not coming back, though? Is it
This
A?
was a coach's quiz.
The coach was in the question.
What do you think
Jared.
Holly is, Jared? The groundskeeper?
You have to be able to tie. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Are you the quiz master or the quiz taker?
Just connect the dots, Jared, okay? Or maybe we should call you back at 11 o'clock your time, because obviously you're not with us at our time. Holly April, our softball coach, Jared, returns all these players except this one. A. Maddie Newman, B. Carmen Greenwood, C. Jordan Wolfe, or D. Nicole Pufau? All right, Jeff, what do you got?
The one I was expecting to be in there wasn't. Run those through those again.
Maddie Newman, Carmen Greenwood, Jordan Wolfe, or Nicole Pufau?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Nicole Pufau.
All right, then. Are you in agreement, Jared?
Yeah, I was waiting on you to say Ferguson, but yeah, I did.
Yeah, no, me too, right?
Well,
I'm just gonna make it multiple choice with 15 players next time. Case, you agree with these knuckleheads?
Yeah, I thought it was funny that Jeff was so distracted waiting for what he expected to be the right answer that he missed the obviously
Pufau
right
at the end.
answer.
No, no, right?
Had to have them repeated. Yeah. Paul, who has not been on the team for a couple of years.
Several years, yeah.
Short-term extension. Oh my God. That's all right. Jeff's had a hard week of it. So let's all do a little bit of due diligence there, okay? All three got that one right. Jesus be praised. Oh, yes, indeed. They all got it right. As we go on to question number 8. Karen Ferguson Days. She has a team that plays in this facility. Which facility is it? Is it A, Lynn Stadium, B, Ulmer Stadium, C, Traeger Stadium, or D, Patterson Stadium? Where do they play? Let's start with Case. No, we've already done Case. Let's start with Jared this time. Jared, where do they play?
the OG Lynn Stadium, not the new one.
He's going to go with A, Lynn Stadium. I'm deducing on this Case. I'll let you go second, though.
I think it's Jim Patterson. No, I'm just kidding. I do think it's funny while we're talking about other Lynn stadiums that you've got LFS, Lynn Family Stadium, and LSF, Louisville Slugger Field, and they're right next to each other, and the same team played at both of them.
Yeah.
It's way too much preference on those three initials. All right, Jeff, are you going to complete the sweep here? Are you going to go with Lynn?
Yeah, I think it's, what is the full name? The Dr. Mark and Cindy Lynn Stadium is
That's
to
correct.
That is correct.
disambiguate it from the other Lynn Family Stadium, yes.
That is correct. Very good. That is the correct answer as well. Lynn Stadium. Fantastic. The Lynn Stadium that is on Floyd Street. Let's
right.
make sure that's clear to everybody.
Jared, that one wasn't a coach question directly either. Are you mad about that one, too?
I was thinking about that, but I was like, I'm gonna let that one slide.
In fairness to Polly's questions, you have to know what sport the coach
Right, you have
is
to
the
tie the
sport
coach
of
to the sport. Yeah, agreed.
answer the question.
Yeah.
I think these are fair questions, Paul. Don't let Jared try to hassle you.
And usually you're the one who complains about the questions, okay? So I'll take that as a vote of confidence. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Question number 9. Jared, you'll love this one. I am Arthur Albiro's assistant. Am I A, Chris Dominguez, B, Chris Lindauer, C, Grace Oglesby, or D, Nick Albiro? I am Arthur's assistant. Is it A, Chris Dominguez, B, Chris Lindauer, C, Grace Oglesby, or D, Nick Albiro? Go
Or
ahead.
is that on me or someone else?
It's you're number one right now.
Cool. Off a process of elimination, I'm going Lindauer.
Gonna go with the B, Lindauer. All right, Jeff, what say you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same place, mostly through process of elimination, but a little bit of familiarity, I think, seems like Lindauer, but I'm certainly not sure of it.
Case, you gonna go in agreement with these guys?
Well, I think you named a baseball player and 2 swimmers in addition to a coach, so I'm going with Lindauer.
Yeah. Oglesby did graduate now, I think, right? Did she graduate this year?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
I want to see Chris Dominguez in a pool. That's all I want to see. That would be fun. All right, as we get ready to go into the final question of the regular quiz here, it looks like Case has got the most catching up to do. We have both Jeff and Jared in a tie going into question number 10. I am a Louisville women's golf assistant coach. Am I A, Lauren Hartledge, B, Derek Copeland, C, Dory Carter, or D, Casey Bonk? I am the Louisville women's assistant golf coach. All right, Jared, which one is it?
I'm going process of elimination for the second straight one. I'm going with Dory Carter.
All right, he goes to see Dory Carter. You in agreement with that there, Jeff?
I was using process of elimination to get it down to a 50-50 shot, but I was thinking bonk.
Okay, going with the bonk. Where are you going to go, Case?
I have to be honest again that I thought I'm completely wrong, apparently. Totally off base. I don't know how he's eliminated, but I was going to say Derek Copeland.
Okay, guys. First of all, Casey Bonk is the director of operations for softball.
Softball.
Okay.
Derek
I didn't know her last name.
Derek Copeland is the head rowing coach at Louisville.
That's right. I knew
Yep.
his name was familiar. I just couldn't remember what he did.
Yep.
Lauren
The same thing with
Hartwich,
Mark Beckham.
who nobody picked.
Yeah, she's
Lauren
still a
Hartwich
golfer.
plays golf. She
Yeah.
plays golf at UofL. She's pretty good at it.
That was the one I could
Dory
eliminate.
Carter, finding Dory Carter.
Because Lauren Hartledge is coming back another year.
That's right.
That is correct. Well, shame us and believe us now. Jared goes into the bonus question with 90 points here, and he is the leader over Jeff, who has 80 points. But the bonus awaits. Jared, since you have the highest score, are you going to take the bonus or not?
How much is the bonus worth?
20 or lose?
Plus or minus 20.
All right, well, I guess I got to go for it, because if I don't and Jeff gets it, then that's over. So, yeah, I'm going for it.
Yeah, Jeff, are you going to challenge this bonus?
Oh, yeah. I always take the bonus.
He always takes the bonus. Case, how about you? You're sitting back here at 60 points. You may kind of need it, but what if the guys miss it, huh?
Well, if they miss it, then I still lose, right? But so I have to get it, and they both miss it. So I'm going for it.
All three of our contestants are taking the bonus where the values are doubled or lose double. Your bonus question is, Holly April played her collegiate softball at A, Pittsburgh, B, Wichita State, C, South Carolina, or D, UMass. Where did Holly April play her collegiate softball at? Pitt, Wichita State, South Carolina, or UMass? Jared, you lead us. What's your answer?
It's not Pitt. I want to say it's UMass, maybe? I'm going to stick with it. Screw it.
UMass is
Yeah,
his final answer. You are in second place with us currently. Jeff, are you going to go A, B, C, or D?
I was thinking that she played at Pitt, so that's what I'm going to go with. I have no confidence that I'm right.
All right, then. So we have a Pitt. We have a UMass. Case, which way are you going to go?
All right, she coached at Pitt, but I don't think that's right. I have to answer different than Jared in order to win. So I've been thinking the whole time Wichita State, but that could be wrong. But that's what I'm going with, Wichita State.
Three different answers from our three contestants. She did coach at Pitt, but did not play there.
Yeah.
Wichita State, she actually was an assistant coach there for a brief while, but did not play.
South Carolina, then.
South Carolina, she was an assistant coach there for a while, but did not play there.
Oh,
She-
wow.
Oh, at UMass, yes.
Yeah.
An outstanding pitcher in the A10 for UMass, and also was a brief assistant there as well. UMass is the answer I was looking for. Worldwide UMass. Case, you missed Jared. You get it correct. And Jared, you hand yourself the one-eared toothpick holding bear because you are the winner of the Cardinal Couple quiz. For
I'll look for it in the mail.
Yes. Along with your stimulus check. It's right on the way. They'll arrive in the same envelope, probably. Fellas, fun times on the quiz here. Let's go ahead and segue that into some final thoughts. And Jared, since you're the quiz winner, let's go with your final thoughts first.
Anybody that does go ahead and participate in some of the protests, please make sure that you're staying safe. And if things get a little out of hand, don't be afraid to get up and go somewhere for your own safety.
Good words indeed. Jeff, what you got?
Yeah, 322 today. SpaceX possibly launching the first humans really from American soil into space. since 2011. So check that out. I'm a bit of a space nerd, so live stream has probably started already on NASA TV. That you can check out the preparations. But yeah, excited for that. Hopefully it comes off, weather permitting.
Case, what say you?
Yeah, obviously I'm hoping for a safe return from all athletes as they start to return to campuses, and I hope that colleges and universities make better decisions than it's been reported that some are starting to make. But I'm going to mirror Jeff, and I'm going to hope for a safe and um, just a completely safe for all parties involved launch today, if that goes off, and tomorrow if it doesn't. No, no disasters, please.
As for me, I'm going to try to stay away from social media for the remainder of the day. I'm not going to venture downtown. Instead, there is a beautiful 11 race card at Churchill Downs today, which I will take great delight in watching online and also on the Fox Sports Network beginning at 1 o'clock. If you want some help with that, Paulie's Picks is over at the website. See who I've picked for the final 5 races of the day in a very, very challenging card out at the Twin Spires today. All right, Jeff, you've been rehearsing the words to Look What We Can Do, Louisville by Hazel Miller. Go ahead and sing it now.
No, I haven't. So
That's all I got. Everybody stay safe and please use your heads this weekend. Thank you.
all right, thank you.